Well, I just want to take a moment to introduce myself and share a little bit about what I've learned from this class. My name is Noah Taylor, and this is my final class in the Master of Ministry program. And so I have an undergraduate degree in pastoral theology, and so this would be a graduate degree in ministry. And in that time, I've taken a class in systematic theology. I've taken a class in biblical theology. I also, early in my undergraduate degree, took a class in church history, but I've never really considered strongly the idea of historical theology. And just as an admission, I don't know that I would consider myself somebody who's a major history buff. I don't mind history, but in school it was never my favorite subject, probably. And so as I approached this class and kind of got started, I was maybe like a lot of people who sit in church, maybe a little skeptical as to the value of theology from a historical perspective rather than just a theological perspective. And so as we began to go through the course, and I kind of began to understand why historical theology is valuable. And really, to define historical theology for me is really historical theology, I think, provides a framework whereby we understand biblical theology and then also systematic theology. It almost provides a timeline and a framework. And instead of just providing us the information, it really kind of gives us the why and the how. How did we get to these conclusions inside of theology, like justification, sanctification, the authority of Scripture, and then why are some of these other areas in the what would be considered the church world, why are they incorrect, like the Roman Catholic Church and some of these other church areas. And so I think historical theology for me has just provided that framework for understanding that. And in my essay, I tried to point out, I think, for the value inside of the church world, which I would think many of us now are going into or are in now. I think the value of historical theology really gives us, as followers of Christ, a spiritual heritage that we can look back to. I said in my essay that I heard recently a person say that there's nobody that's really a self-made man. All of us owe our who we are and what we are to somebody else, whether that be a mentor but all of us who are Christ followers now, Bible-believing Christians, really owe who we are and what we are to the people that we find throughout church history who really passed down to us the theology that we are benefactors of today. And so I think it's important to understand that we have a spiritual heritage, a spiritual lineage, and we're all a part of a spiritual family that traces all the way back to really the apostles and the first disciples. And so historical theology gives us that framework. And why is this important inside the church and inside the life of the church? Well, I'm a pastor, and really prior to this course, I didn't understand, I don't think, the value of people that sit in the pew and people that are in the church of understanding or having an understanding of historical theology. A couple quick things that I included in my essay that I think are reasons why it is important and why there is value inside the church for historical theology. First of all, I think it allows people the opportunity to understand the how and the why of our Bible, for instance. How did we get our Bible, and why is it the authority? Well, I think an understanding of historical theology answers that question. Also, it gives us, I think, the ability to defend our faith. Why is the church structured like it is? How did we get here? Why is what we do correct versus what maybe the Roman Catholic Church does? Why are they wrong? And why do we believe the theology that we have is the theology that was passed down to us? So those are a couple reasons I think that these are beneficial to the church world. I think these are questions that the church has, and I think historical theology helps provide some of those answers. I've enjoyed the class. I hope you have as well, and I look forward to growing in my understanding of historical theology.